Anthropic has been astonishingly successful with Claude Code, and now they're trying to replicate that success in the creative professions. Let's see how they're doing. I have some cool demos in store for you. Some of this is seriously impressive, and some of it is still a bit glitchy, like the early days of Claude Code. I'm interested to see what you think. And I should say, if you're able to like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. That's the way I know you're really there and that you like me making these videos. Okay, onwards. So Anthropic put out this blog post to announce their focus on creative work. In some ways, it's a different stance for Anthropic that have typically focused more on the enterprise use case and allowed the others to be more focusing on creative, particularly Gemini. But now you can see that they're really putting their stake in the ground. They're connecting Claude to creative tools. They mention Ableton, for example, for musicians, and they also mention Blender, the open source 3D creation software. And we're going to have a look at Blender later, but first, there's something they released a couple of weeks ago that predates even this post. And here it is. It's called Claude Design, and you get to it by going to claude.ai/design and then logging in with your Anthropic account. And I'll put a link in the details. And in many ways, people are describing this as a Figma takeout. It's something which allows you to upload details about your project, and it will then do things like style guides and all of the sort of assets and handle the sorts of things that you used to do in Figma, but it will do it in a very easy, streamlined way, which is super compelling. And you have to try it to see, and we're going to do it in a second, and you should too. But also it can do other things too, like work on the branding of your company and really be the sort of tooling for a designer. So let's say I've got an existing project and I would like to use this as my UX tooling for it. I'm going to press Setup Design System. Set up your design system, company name and blurb or name of design system. And really this is thinking that it's doing it for an entire company like a startup. I'm going to apply it to a specific product, which is another way you can use it. And in particular, I'm going to pick one of my prior videos, one called Trade Wars, when I put new models to the test in a real-time trading environment. We're going to build a design system for that. So I will put in some information now about Trade Wars. Okay, and so for the overall name and blurb, I'm going to say Trade Wars is an arena that pits models against each other to make the most profit. And now we're going to need to give examples for it to use. It's optional, so you don't need to actually, but we could give it GitHub repo. We could drag and drop code from our computer, upload a Figma file, or anything else really, any other assets. I've got the repo right here for Trade Wars, so we'll use that. I will just paste that in and press add, and there we have the repo for Trade Wars. And it's going to want me to connect GitHub to Claude. So I just press this button here, up comes a little pop-up, and then I will authorize it and see you right back here. Okay, and there's an other notes section at the bottom, which is our chance to give it some final direction. I'll say you should feel free to take it in a different direction, be inspired by the day trading nature, make it bold, make a bold and action-packed design. And with that, press continue to generation and then press generate. And off it goes. We have our UX designer, UI designer in the works, and we will come back shortly. And it's been hard at work for a few minutes. It updated its to-do list. It's been working on reading the files. It's created something draft here. It took a while for that to come up. And while it's still working, I'll just clarify something I just said. I described this as being like a UI UX designer. And I don't think that's quite right. And I do think it's important to be clear on this. I think the right analogy is to think of this like Claude Code. This is tooling. It is something which accelerates the work of a UI UX designer. But there still needs to be someone in the driving seat, and that's you, that's able to be accountable for the quality of the output, that's able to make the overall decisions, iterate and refine with this tooling, and be the person that has the overall viewpoint on what should be the style and have the taste of what it's trying to create. So I think that's the important distinction to make. Okay, it's completed, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty impressive. So there's a review the draft design system right here, and you can look through. It's got the right color palette that I already had. It's got a ton of stuff about the kinds of things you might have to configure in Figma that takes a long time. A lot of stuff about the different branding colors and spacing and componentry and so on. So there's a lot in here to see. But the most important thing, which it does tell me about right here, down in the final description here, is that there is a UI kit arena, and we can open this up to have a look at what it's built. Okay, I've made it a bit bigger for you, and here we go. This is the new UI, and I gotta tell you, I think it's pretty cool. It's definitely inspired by what was there already. It's definitely similar to the prior version, but it's made it sharper. It's made it feel more real time. It's also got that kind of Bloomberg vibe and also a competition arena vibe. It's got some nice visual elements like the scrolling ticker, and it's got the way that the different players are tied to their screens here with these colors. It's nice. It's a good UX. I like it a lot. Let's press the looks good button. And while it was running, I also saw it verifying this UI, and it actually ran a quick simulation of the game to check it liked it. It was super impressive to see it working. And then it's built a bunch of design files, a folder of assets, a folder of some preview stuff that it's got, all of this stuff, screenshots that it's taken, UI kits. And then importantly, it's made a document called skill.md, which is the way that it can give the skills of being able to build these UIs to other coding agents, and a README document. And of course, this isn't the end of the journey for the designer. This is the start of the journey. This is where you give feedback and you iterate with Claude to get your design to a point when you are very satisfied with it. And at that point, you can now come to the share button. And this is where you can share it with other teammates. You can download it as a zip or as a PDF or PowerPoint. You can put it in Canva so you can edit it there. And then when you're ready, you can hand it off to Claude Code and say, here you have skill, you have the assets, go make these changes to the repo. And now for something completely different. Let's go back to the start again. This time, I'd like to just use this as a general design tool to try and come up with some imagery. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, I'm going to the other tab, and I'm going to say a new project called Proficient. So we're going to call it, create that project. And now we're going to go in here and describe what we want to create, and I'll show you. So here, I've just put in here, I'm running a program to recognize students who complete all my courses on Udemy. It has a certificate called the Proficient AI Engineer. I'd like to improve the design of the certificate to make it more polished and professional. And actually, this is because I just got feedback from someone that just got this certificate that they thought it wasn't quite elegant enough. So let's see if our design assistant can help us make something better. Sounds like a good task for Claude. We'll see how it does. And it's come back with a bunch of questions, which is super impressive. What direction should the design take? Let's say this, modernize the output dimensions. Let's keep it. Pairing. Let's go editorial. Color treatment, keep all current brand colors. Let's just say that. And no seal. I don't like the idea of a seal. Let's have a subtle inner border and decide for me. And look at that. It says, who signs it? And it recognizes my name there. That's cool. No signature line and additional elements. Let me see. Let's say none of the above. How many design variations? 3. And that all sounds good. Let's let it do it. It's great that it's so interactive and it comes back. It is a bit of a Claude Code experience, but elevated to a level where non-technical people can work with it this way. Okay, and that finished, and I've zoomed out a bit so you'll get to see it. It's given me a sense here that it's made 3 variations, and that I saw the previews of them coming up, and I've scrolled over to the left so I can now reveal each of them for you. Here is the first variation that it came up with. Here we go. Okay, that's interesting. It's quite similar to the original one, but a little bit more polished. I like the sort of serif font look to it. Not brilliant, though. Here's the second one, navy asymmetric band. I like that. I do like that. That looks nice. It looks pretty clean. Yep, okay. And then this is the third one, 2-column ledger. Yeah, that's nice as well. Okay, so I think it did a decent job. I'm not as blown away as I was by the last piece of work, but that's because the job is just getting started. This, of course, is where one would need to iterate. I'd need to give it a viewpoint. I'd want to ask for these icons to be improved. I'd probably want to see a couple more variations of the second and third version, and so on. But it absolutely shows you that you can work collaboratively with this as a designer assistant, let's say, very similar to the way that a developer would work with Claude Code. And now for something completely different, I want to give you a demo of Claude driving Blender, the open source 3D creation software. This was announced in Anthropic's blog post, and also Anthropic is becoming a sponsor of Blender. This webpage that I will include in the details gives you the instructions if you wanted to do this yourself, but I suggest you just watch me. This is just a quick demo unless you're really into this. But basically, we are going to use Claude Desktop to connect to Blender. And so if you don't already have Claude Desktop, you'll need to install it. And you can then also install Blender. I've got Blender version 5. You can install it for free by going to blender.org/download. And this is what you get. If you go to that link, you get this ability. You can then download it. I'm getting it for my Apple Silicon Mac. You get it for your system and then install it. And so the first step is now to go to Claude Desktop and add this as a connector, add Blender. So this is Claude Desktop. If you haven't seen it before, it's like the desktop app, which you've hopefully installed now. And this is the chat section in it that looks a bit like Claude.ai, but it's in a desktop app. And they've chosen to surface this Blender connection in the desktop app first and foremost over Claude Code. I think because they're trying to make this available to the widest possible audience. So you come in here, you press the plus button, you go to connectors and you say add connector, and then you search for Blender, and there it is. And I've already installed it. So when I click here, it shows it's already installed. I'd have to uninstall it, and I've enabled it. You should install it and enable it, and then you have the connector. Okay, this next instruction is a bit weird, and to show it to you, I brought it up side by side. On the left here, this is Blender. It's Blender 5.1.1 that I've got running. You can see it here. And on the right is these instructions again. The next instruction is to open the Blender MCP server page that's linked here, and then drag the install link. Let me show you. You go here, you take this link here, and you drag it and drop it onto this main screen here. It sounds like, what's that going to do? It works. You do that. But here's the funny thing. You have to do it twice, as it says right here. It says in bold. You will need to do it twice, because the first time it just allows you to be able to add this Blender lab repository. And then the second time it actually installs the MCP server itself. And strangely, I will tell you, I had to do it 3 times for it to work, but I think that might have just been glitchiness, but it did work for me. So do that. And hopefully if you're following along, that will work for you too. And now I've expanded Blender again. The instructions say that there's now a third step, but I didn't need to do it. The instructions say you now press the N button, and in this pop-up menu, you look for like an MCP tab here, but that doesn't come up for me. It already seems to be activated. And the way that I can tell, the way that you should tell, is I go to the Edit menu, I go down to Preferences, I go to Add-ons, and I see that MCP there is checked. And when I open it up, I can see that this all looks good. It all looks like this has been installed. It's an MCP server add-on for LLM interaction. That means that the MCP is installed and is running, and you can look through all of this and see that its server is running. It says down there, which is our sure sign that things are ready. Now, my experience now driving Blender through Claude was mysterious. It was kind of cool and kind of weird for 2 reasons. One of them is that I know nothing about Blender and nothing about 3D design, which means that it's like people using Claude Code who've got absolutely no programming experience at all. It can be a bit bewildering to start with, and you're sort of, it feels like you're having to be led a lot by the coding agent. The second reason it's a bit weird is that we're using Claude Desktop, and that's not as strong a harness as Claude Code. It lacks some of the tooling. It lacks the ability to sort of think things through and plan and have a checklist and work things through. And it lacks some of the bulletproof aspects of Claude Code, like the memory, context management, and so on. So in some ways, it feels like we're taking quite a step back to a previous tool set. The benefit is this is so much more accessible to a wider audience that may not be as familiar with things like context management. But as I say, the downside is it feels like it's a bit raw compared to the tooling we're used to. So to be successful in Claude Desktop driving Blender, I came up with 3 rules that turned out to be most successful for me. The first of them was that I created a directory on my computer in my projects directory called Creative, and I told Claude Desktop about it, and I said, this needs to be your working directory. And that way I grounded it in one place. That wasn't sort of set up by default or anything. The second thing is that I gave it clear instructions, and whilst to start with, I put them directly quickly in here, I quickly found that it was better to write it to a markdown file and have it in that directory, which I told it to do. So I told it to write a markdown file, put it in the project directory. We called it PROGRESS.md. And there it gave all the details of what it was working on, the problems, what it was doing next. And that way I was able to kind of bootstrap it to having a sort of a steady task list like Claude Code has. And thirdly, I regularly told it to use a checklist, to like continually have a set of things it's doing, what it's working on, and check things off as it does them. So it's almost like I'm sort of forcing it into a Claude Code way of working. Otherwise, it would lose the thread a bit. And sometimes it would just stop mid-flow, and I wasn't able to pick it back up from where it was until it was writing to Markdown. Now, I'm sure these are all things that are going to get fixed very quickly in Claude Desktop, but they were limitations that I found, and that's how I got around them. And I will put my final instructions in the details so you can do this too, should you wish. But I gave it some instructions to build a cartoon modern robot painting a watercolor. I gave it some instructions. It gave up after a bit. I said, something's gone wrong. Can you pick up? That's later when I discovered that it was good to use a markdown file. And we went backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And as you can see, it took a fair amount of patience. It went on and on and on and on and on and on. And finally, it finished. And what it's come up with at the end is still pretty janky and amateurish. But remember, this is something that's starting from scratch and it's being led by someone that's a real novice at this. So it's very much a case of taking it little step at a time and trying to do incrementally better. But in the end, we went through 3 iterations of designing this scene together. This was iteration 1 in Blender, looking a bit janky. And this is iteration 2, and my vision is coming together. We're starting to see a robot painting, although quite what's happening to its face is beyond me. And this is iteration 3. The different shapes are coming together. We've actually got what appears to be a robot painting. Okay, let's see how the render of this came out. And here is the rendered scene, and I know it looks kind of janky, but keep in mind, this is based on a 3D model that's being rendered, and I can press the play button and we can watch the camera swoop around, we can watch it playing, and it's kind of cool that all of this was designed and implemented in Blender by Claude through the connector with my instructions. And hopefully you picked up that the thing that it's drawing is meant to be a Claude logo, just at its beginnings there. And so look, this was a very primitive piece of artwork, but keep in mind that first of all, you're dealing with someone with basically no artistic skill whatsoever. And secondly, I've never used Blender before in my life. And with that in mind, it's kind of cool that we got this far in about a day of work. You will be able to do a lot better, I guarantee you. And certainly I would also be able to if I kept working at it. But I wanted to show it as a great example of how Anthropic is moving towards Claude being able to add value for creatives. And to wrap up, I think it's interesting that Anthropic are bringing these kinds of agentic features to products other than Claude Code. Claude Code has been phenomenally successful, but it's quite technical. It needs you to install Node, you know about slash commands, slash context, that kind of thing. And that might put off some of the wider audience. And that might be why they're making this available initially in things like Claude Desktop and through a separate platform, Claude Design. And obviously Cowork is another interesting example of this. And the downside of this is that you don't get the same kind of access to the harness that Claude Code comes with, as we've just discovered. And so in some ways, it feels like a bit of a step back, but I'm sure it will catch up fast. One final point to mention, one of the reasons Claude Code is so powerful is that it's been able to be trained based on verifiable outcomes. It's able to write some code or fix a bug, and then it can tell if it's been successful or not. And that's one of the reasons why it's become so very effective so quickly. Now, the same doesn't necessarily apply as easily to things like design and to things like 3D modeling, where there's not such a clear-cut way of assessing whether the output was what was expected, at least not without human feedback. You can't necessarily do that in an automatic way. And perhaps that means that progress won't be as quick as it has been with Claude Code. So that's an interesting distinction to watch out for. We will have to see how quickly these products get adopted and whether it measures up to Claude Code. And thank you for watching this through the very end. Again, just a reminder to like and subscribe. That's my way of knowing that you like it. And also it's the way that YouTube decides whether or not to show this to other people. So I very much appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope to see you soon for another video.